G'day guys, my name's Dave Trent and welcome to another GuitarZero2Hero song tutorial. And in this lesson, I'll be teaching you how to play Say You Won't Let Go by James Arthur. So this is actually a very simple song once you break it down. So for the basics, you'll need your guitar in standard tuning, a capo on the 3rd fret of your guitar, and you'll need to know 4 chord shapes. Now to master your chords back to front, be sure to head over to GuitarZero2Hero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. So the 4 chord shapes that you'll need to know are G, D/F sharp. Now there's 2 ways you can play a D/F sharp. The first way is to play a D chord first and then take your thumb and reach it over and push down the 2nd fret of the 6th string relative to the capo. That's one way of playing the D/F sharp. The other way is to take your index finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the 6th string relative to the capo. Middle goes on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string and your ring finger goes on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And you mute the 1st string, and that's the second way of playing a D/F sharp. We have E minor, and then finally we have C. So firstly, I'm going to show you how it's fingerpicked in the studio recorded version, and then I'm going to show you a really easy strummed version for the beginners out there. Okay, so the main riff is actually played throughout the whole song, which is really easy. Once we learn this, we've basically learnt the whole song, and you just repeat it over and over. The main riff is comprised of 4 chord shapes. We have G to begin with, and then we have D/F sharp, and then we have E minor, and then finally C. Just some finger picking basics. Your thumb will take care of the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings, and your index, middle, and ring finger will take care of the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings respectively. They won't pluck any other strings other than the ones they're assigned to. So for each chord shape, there's a picking pattern that's basically the same throughout. So we'll start with our first chord, G, and we'll break the G chord up into 3 smaller sections. So the first little section of this G chord will start with the bass note of the G, and then we'll pluck the 2nd and 3rd strings together. After you've plucked the 2nd and 3rd strings together, you want to quickly mute the strings by just dropping your palm down and not letting the strings ring out. So that first little bit will sound like this. Notice how after I pluck the 2nd and 3rd strings, I drop my picking hand down so that the strings don't ring out. And again. The next little section of the repeated picking pattern will comprise of 3 notes plucked together. We're going to pluck the bass note, the 2nd and 3rd strings at the same time. The bass note in this instance is the 6th string. But also what we're going to do is we're going to lift our ring finger up off this G chord so that the 2nd string is an open note. And so far we have this. And finally, the 3rd little chunk of our picking pattern is going to be comprised of the bass note, then the 3rd string, and then back to the bass note, which is the 6th string in this case. So that 3rd little chunk will just sound like this. And altogether, the picking pattern will go like this. One more time. Then we go to our D/F sharp chord, and we're going to do basically the exact same picking pattern. So we start with the bass note on the 6th string, and then we're going to pluck the 2nd and 3rd strings together, and then mute. So that's the first little section. For the second little chunk of this picking pattern, we're plucking 3 strings at the same time, remember? For this chord, we're going to be plucking the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings together. And also, you'll lift your ring finger up off this 3rd fret, so you'll have an open 2nd string. And so far for the D/F sharp, we have this. And then the 3rd little chunk again, remember, is bass note, then the 3rd string, and then back to the bass note. And in our case, we're not using the 6th string for the bass note here. We're going to use the open 4th string. So that 3rd little chunk will just sound like this. And altogether, the D/F sharp sounds like this. And then we go to an E minor. But you're also going to take your pinky finger or your ring finger and put it on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So this is actually an E minor 7 chord. In terms of the picking pattern, it's going to be basically exactly the same as the G chord. So the first chunk is bass note, then second and third strings, and then mute everything. And the second chunk is 3 notes at the same time, except we lift our pinky finger or ring finger up off the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and we pluck the 6th, 2nd and 3rd strings together. And then our 3rd chunk is 6th string, 3rd string, 6th string. And in total, our E minor sounds like this. And for the C chord, we're going to start with the bass note, which is the 5th string. We're going to pluck the 2nd and 3rd strings, and then mute. And then we're going to pluck all 3 strings together. And then this last little section is different to any of the other chords. We're going to pluck the bass note, which is the 5th string, and then we're going to pluck the 2nd string, and then pull our index finger off to get that open string. And in total, the C sounds like this. So to recap the general picking pattern for the first 3 chords, you have the bass note, then you pluck the 2nd and 3rd strings for the first chunk. The second chunk is 3 strings plucked at the same time, and then you'll lift whatever finger is pushing down on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And then the 3rd chunk is always bass note, then 3rd string, and then back to bass note. The only exception to this is the last C chord. So now I'll play the full riff at 75 and 100% speed, and I'll have a close-up of my picking and fretting hand for some clarification. So now I'm just going to quickly teach you a really easy strummed version if you can't play the finger picking pattern. So we have, again, those 4 chords: G, D/F sharp, E minor, and C. And the strumming pattern that we're going to play for each chord is going to be this: down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. And a bit slower: down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. And in succession: down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. So again, you play each strumming pattern once for each chord, and the basic version will just sound like this. Say you won't let go. Just say you won't let go. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 down. And you can basically play that throughout the whole song, so it's really easy. So now I'm going to be playing a good section of the song, and I'm going to have a vocal track on top for some context. So feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go.
I held your hair back when you were throwing up.
Hope you guys have enjoyed this lesson. Be sure to head over to GuitarZero2Hero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. If you've enjoyed this and you want to see more in the future, then it helps me so much if you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave your thoughts, comments and questions below, and I'll see you next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.
I was doing just fine before I met you. Drink too much and that's an issue. Okay. Tell your friends it was nice to meet them, but I hope I never see them.